Daniel Reyes found the envelope wedged behind the electric bill, his ex-wife's looping handwriting on the front like she'd practiced it. Claudia was marrying Trent Whitfield in 6 weeks, and apparently etiquette demanded Daniel be told in cardstock. He didn't show it to Lily. 8-year-olds didn't need a save-the-date for the day their mother became someone else's wife. What he did instead was fix the dishwasher rack. Again, the same bent wire he'd bent back into place a dozen times since the divorce. Because some problems you can actually solve with your hands, and Daniel had run out of other kinds. Next door, Maren Ashby noticed the kitchen light on past midnight. She noticed most things about the Reyes house: the rhythm of a single father raising a kid alone, the Tuesday nights he forgot trash day, the way Lily waved at her bus stop like Maren was something permanent. Maren had never said anything about any of it. She brought over casseroles instead and called it extra, like she'd made too much by accident, 3 times a month, for 2 years. Neither of them had given the arrangement a name. Some things you don't name, because naming them makes you responsible for them. The wedding invitation sat on Daniel's counter for 9 days before he wrote 1 in the RSVP box, under attending, alone, Mart 2. What Maren didn't say at the door. The morning of the wedding, Daniel stood in his bathroom mirror, wrestling a tie he hadn't worn since his own ceremony. Different church, same knot. Apparently muscle memory doesn't care about heartbreak. Lily was staying with his mother. You don't have to do this, his mother had told him on the phone. The kind of sentence mothers say when they mean, I wish you weren't. He knocked on Maren's door on his way to the car, not for any reason he could name except that he always told her when he was leaving town, and Pittsburgh for one afternoon counted, somehow. She answered in flour-dusted sweatpants, halfway through baking something for no one in particular. You look like a man going to a funeral, she said. Close enough. She studied him a beat too long, the kind of look that does work language doesn't have permission for yet, and then she reached up and fixed his collar, which didn't need fixing. Call me when it's over, she said. Not if you need anything. Not good luck. Just call me. He said he would. He didn't ask why it mattered to her. Some questions you leave alone because you're not ready for the answer. Part 3. The toast that wasn't meant for him. The reception was held in a hotel ballroom with too much gold trim, and Daniel spent most of it standing near the bar like furniture nobody had ordered. Trent's best man stood up for the toast somewhere around the second course, champagne in hand, charm switched all the way on. He talked about Claudia's fresh start, her second chance at being chosen, and the room laughed in that warm, oblivious way rooms laugh when they don't know who's listening. To the family Claudia always deserved, the best man said, raising his glass toward the head table. The real one. Nobody at that table looked at Daniel. That was almost the worst part. Not the words, but how easily the room moved past him afterward, glasses clinking, conversation rolling forward like he'd already left. He hadn't. He was still standing by the bar holding a club soda he didn't want, doing math on how many minutes was a respectable amount of time before a man could leave his daughter's mother's wedding without anyone calling it rude. He'd gotten to 14 minutes when the ballroom doors opened. Part 4. Look at me. Maren wasn't supposed to be there. Nobody had invited her. She wasn't family, wasn't a +1, wasn't anything the seating chart had a column for. She walked straight down the center aisle between the tables in jeans holding her phone and stopped where the best man was still mid-laugh from his own joke. Excuse me, she said, loud enough. The room turned. You stood up there, she said, and called some family real. In front of a man who's coached every soccer practice, sat through every fever, learned to braid hair from a YouTube video at 1 in the morning because his daughter wanted French braids for picture day. The best man's smile did something complicated, and failed. I'm not done. Maren's voice didn't shake. That was the thing people would talk about later, not what she said, but how steady it was. Like she'd been carrying it a long time, and had finally set it down. Look at me, she said, and it wasn't to the best man anymore. It was to the whole room, to Claudia, to Trent, to Daniel standing frozen by the bar with his club soda. Look at who actually shows up. That's the family that's real. Nobody clinked a glass. Nobody laughed. The silence had weight to it, the kind you could lean against. Part 5. After the silence. Daniel didn't remember crossing the room. He remembered Marin's hand, and that it was shaking even though her voice hadn't been, and he remembered thinking that was the truer version of her, the version underneath the steady one. They left together, out through the gold-trimmed lobby, past a valet who had clearly heard everything and was pretending not to. In the car, neither of them said anything for 3 full minutes. Daniel finally broke it. 2 years of casseroles, he said, and that's how you finally tell me? I wasn't going to tell you at all. Marin looked out the window. I was going to keep bringing food forever and call it extra. What changed? Someone in there called you not real family. She turned to him. I've watched you build a whole childhood out of nothing but bent dishwasher racks and showing up. I wasn't about to sit in a banquet hall and let that go unsaid. Daniel reached for her hand at a red light, and she let him. Lily figured it out before either adult admitted anything out loud. 8-year-olds tend to notice who actually shows up, too. 6 months later, the casseroles still came 3 times a week. Nobody called them extra anymore.